Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Commissioner's Corner. I'm County Commissioner Josh Brown. I represent Central Kitsap on the Board of County Commissioners, and I'm here in Old Town Silverdale in my Commissioner District, and I'm at Monica's Waterfront Bakery and Cafe with the proprietor of Monica's, Monica Downen. So how did you and your husband decide to get into the business of owning a bakery?
Well, it was a circuitous route. I worked my way through college many moons ago in restaurants, and he worked in restaurants early on, and then we both had different careers. And I got burned out on mine and needed a change and started talking to people about what I could do. And they said I should do something with food because my stress release was cooking for people. So I started interviewing restaurant owners in places that I really admired and doing what I called informational interviews to find out what they would do if they could do it all over again. And they all told me not to do it.
Okay.
This place was not for sale, and I was really not in the market for it. I wanted a much smaller place. So after a couple of months, she said, I think that you need to buy this place from me. And I said, no, I don't. And she challenged me to go work the front for a week and just interact with people and tell her that I didn't feel it was a good fit, and I couldn't. So it worked out really well. Over 10 months it took place, and I realized it was so much bigger than I'd anticipated that we had to do or die. Mark had to quit his career and join me.
Mark's your husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after being a mechanic for 16 years and a former Marine, he became my baker.
There you go. There you go.
After that first year, we tightened up in a lot of different ways. When people left, we didn't rehire. Mark and I, we work in the business, and I run the business. And we did it even more. We stopped taking any days off except for Sundays and worked a lot of Sundays as well. Adjusted purchasing strategies, and that is going to help us through this next phase of increased cost. And a whole bunch of things like that. We flex. We aren't in the restaurant business, we're in the customer service business. So that is our focus. And as long as we continue serving our customers, they will continue to be loyal to us.
So I had the privilege of speaking to a group of entrepreneurs at our Washington Cash program. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's folks, Stuart Walton and Bill Hoke help teach a lot of the classes for Washington Cash. And it's striking to me because, you go and they just had a graduation that I was able to speak at about 2 weeks ago. There's 25 people that are all trying to start their own small businesses. And what's amazing is most of them have never started a small business. And a lot of them will graduate from the program. And probably the best possible outcome is that they start the small business that they rely on for the rest of their life. But on the other side of the spectrum, even if folks aren't successful starting a business, they build such a high level of confidence where they can go out and compete in the workforce. And when I went around and spoke to a lot of the folks and introduced myself, the industry that really struck me as an industry where local government, and whether it's the county or the health district, we certainly have a lot of ways where we interact with the businesses, although the elected officials don't see it very much, is the food business. And one of the comments that I heard from a lot of the folks that were graduating from Washington Cash was that we had one person who was wanting to start a kebab business. Another person was interested in starting a bakery. And in both of these projects, they were a little confused about who they needed to talk to for permitting, if they were starting the business out of their home versus renting some space somewhere. Who do they talk to get the okay of how to start? But in terms of getting the approval from the health district and understanding all the regulatory aspects of being in the food service industry, it was something that taught me that we need to do a better job in government to educate folks who want to be small business owners, where they go to ask the questions and how do we provide them the information. So I was hoping to get maybe some feedback from you as you were starting this endeavor. Of course, this was a business that was already up and running and you were working with the previous owner. But did you run into some hiccups along the way where you didn't know who to talk to about certain issues, and in being in the food business, what were some maybe unique challenges that you encountered?
Absolutely. Not knowing where to go and who to ask has been a big issue. An even bigger issue is not knowing what questions to ask.
Yeah.
I haven't done this before. And I mean, when it switched over, she went away. I didn't have that resource. And which is why I say I still research. I still call people I know who own other restaurants that I've met over the past 5 years and say, hey, how do I do this?
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget to do that. And there is the Small Business Development Center. They have, I owe my business hands down to them, or part of the success of it, because they really can help get everything that's needed out there. And luckily, when their funding got cut, Wazoo Extension picked them up, so they're still there, and it's a free service to anyone who owns a small independent business. So that's been a really big help. Not knowing what your options are can be really frustrating. And sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Sure.
It's a true statement.
Yeah.
Until something comes up and you think, hey, I wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known that. And the fact that I do and did a lot of research and talked to a lot of different people has helped me. I never say no to anybody. There's room for everyone. If somebody comes in and they want to open a bakery next door, I will tell them what I know and help them get started. Because there is room for everyone. We can all have our different niche. The county, I think, like you said, could really, I mean, in a dream scenario, would be great to have resources maybe on the web, on the existing website, maybe a brochure that could someday, when funding gets better, I'm sure everyone hopes it will, that could be industry specific. Although it doesn't have to be to start, it could just be something, here are some business resources for anyone starting a small business. And here are some questions to ask. Maybe even the SBDC could put it together, and you could put it on the website and put a link to them.
So for folks not familiar with the Small Business Development Center, how were they helpful to you along the way?
Specifically to me, they helped me streamline my finances, my purchasing and spending, and things like that. They helped me put together a portfolio where I can go ask for financial help. I haven't received any yet, but I can go ask, and it looks really nice. It's very organized. They rarely have to ask me for any more information because it's all in front of them. They can help you, though, at the most basic level. They can help you write a business plan. They can help you decide what business is right for you. They can help you start from very scratch or continue on your already started a business.
Yeah, okay. So it sounds like, for that program or a Washington Cash or other programs that are out there, I mean, I guess one of the thoughts that I kind of had a takeaway from speaking to the Washington Cash group, and I mentioned this to our directors at the county, was that we need to coordinate with groups like that to find out what are the questions coming up from folks who are trying to start a small business. For the gentleman that wanted to start the kebab business and is waiting and trying to figure out, how do I get approval from the health department to market my products? And confused or not sure whether or not he can start the business out of his home, or if he is trying to transition to a facility that he's renting to do business, trying to answer those questions. I think your comment about the industry specific frequently asked questions, I think coming up with something is really important. So, that's, I think, something where we definitely need feedback and to do a better job as a county.
Well, I think definitely connecting with Cash and the Small Business Development Center, and even just putting links on your website to them could be a bigger help. And people could get in and maybe even find other business mentors in doing that.
Was it confusing, some of the, or what was your experience kind of getting up and started and working with our local health district and some of the restaurant-related issues that they deal with? You have any specifics to maybe share, feedback? Or?
I suppose it is a little bit confusing. It's very expensive. But I just learned a thing this year. They have a new inspector that came through, and he taught me something this year that I had no idea, that I hadn't broken the rule yet, but I was going to because I didn't know about it. I was going to do it this year. It was a catering thing that I didn't know about. And so he sent me all the information, which was really nice, so I could go through and read it. There's a lot to read. There are a lot of different rules for different businesses. The cottage industry business law just passed through the state, and I don't know if the county knows how to deal with that one yet, but it will help really small food businesses get started, and they'll be able to do it a little bit more easily.
So I'm not familiar with it, so maybe could you share a little bit more about that?
It's a bill that passed the state, and I don't know how articulate I can be about it, but it is what it sounds like. Cottage industry, if you want to make jams and jellies in your home and sell them at the farmer's market,
Okay.
then it streamlines the process for you and allows you to do that without having to find a commercial kitchen and do all of these things. The health department can come through and approve your kitchen. And I don't know what the numbers are for under so many dollars worth of product every year.
Okay, very good. You know, and in Kitsap County, we have a slightly different situation than what other jurisdictions have. We don't have a health department, which, you know, if you go to King County, they have King County Health Department. So the King County Council serves as a health department board. If you go to a rural county, you know, such as Mason or Pacific County, they have their Board of County Commissioners that serve on the health department board, and the department is literally a department of county government. But here in Kitsap County, we have a health district. So the county commissioners, the three of us serve on the board, along with the mayors and city council members of each city. And I think probably, you know, the original idea behind that approach was that we want to be able to have all the municipalities engaged. But at the same time, I think maybe when it's come to you know, some of the permit and regulations for the food business and small businesses, we don't really see on the ground how things are impacted as much. We spend a lot of our time on the environmental health side, worrying about septic systems and you know, a lot of the you know, worrying about TB and you know, when we had the swine flu epidemic and all these issues. That's how we spend a lot of our time. So I think trying to figure out how we do a better job of interfacing with small businesses is probably a good challenge for us there.
I didn't know that was the way it said. I assumed it was the same as other counties and its own department.
Yeah, because you know, I admit, I mean, you know, I go to the health district meetings once a month, once every 2 months, depending on how they're briefed, and you know, and I look at the big policy goals for the organization, managing the budget, managing if we have new regulations for septic tanks or septic systems rather, and things that we need to deal with as an organization. That's how we generally spend the time. But it's a very different interaction than the role I play as county commissioner, where the Department of Community Development or Public Works or Parks, those departments I see all the time, and they directly report to me and the board, and we know all the details of what's happening. So I think that's probably something that, you know, that we can look at as a board and figure out how at the health district we do a little better job at. You mentioned farmers markets, and I can't help but notice anytime I'm in Old Town, Silverdale on a Tuesday afternoon, the farmers market here in Old Town is really thriving, and it seems like it's continuing to grow and explode. How has that impacted your business?
We are definitely busier on Tuesdays. People are coming through to see the market, and what's more interesting is Mark, my husband, has decided last year that he wanted to participate in that farmers market. It can be difficult to do for a baker. If the farmers market starts at 9 in the morning, then they've got to be up baking by probably midnight. So this one starts at 10 or 11 in the morning, and actually 10 in the morning. And so he can go in at 4, and he preps it up the day before. And he sees so many people who don't even know we're here.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How can that be?
It's a bright yellow building you can see from space, so I don't know.
No kidding.
And they go through and they say, "Oh, where's your bakery?" And it's great because he can send
And
people
these are
over.
locals from Kitsap County, or
Yeah.
is that right?
He can send
Wow.
people over to get the bread sliced because he takes a few sliced loaves, but most people don't want it that way. So once he's out and they want it sliced, he says, "Oh, just go over and we'll slice it for you." Or if he's out of something, he can call and say, "Hey, do you have any more of this in the restaurant?" And if they need their cinnamon bread, we've got it. Or
Yeah.
we can send people here to the market. And it's been a really good partnership. And it's right out the back door, so it's very convenient. I don't know how everyone does it when they have to drive a long way to get to the market.
Well, that's what's amazing to me. And so for you and Mark, do you go to any of the other farmers markets, or just for
That's
the
the only one he works.
Got it.
I have a program where I have a Twitter, Monica's Cafe, and Facebook account, and when I can get it to any farmer's market, I do a promo called Meet Me at the Market. And I put it out on Twitter, and then I let them win. Whoever finds me first, I always wear my blue apron. I take them up to a farmer and buy them like maybe a fresh radishes or something and give them a recipe and introduce them to the farmer and try to interact that way. So I try to get to all the farmers markets, but we don't sell at all of them.
Okay. And you're also,
On our Kitsap County Food and Farm Policy Council,
I am.
where you've been a great contributor to the work that they're doing. What are some of your thoughts in terms of, what the county could be doing, or opportunities, or things that are happening in the community, whether it's supporting local agriculture, local businesses, buying local? What are some things happening out there? Because I'm always impressed in Kitsap that, I go to other counties, and when I talk to friends, let's say in Thurston County or in Whatcom County, I know there's a big farmers market in Olympia in Thurston County or up in Bellingham. But what amazes me about Kitsap as an opportunity, but also as a challenge, is that we have farmers markets everywhere. And your comment about people not knowing that your business is here, I'm amazed when people go to a farmers market in Silverdale, how they're not familiar with what's happening on Bainbridge Island or in Paulsbo or in Port Orchard. We have all these great farmers markets and things happening in our county, and it reflects our diversity, but it's also a challenge because we're not always very good at communicating what's happening great in other communities. So.
Well, and that's what we're trying to do as the Food and Farm Policy Council is have a hub. Foodchain.org is the website.
Okay.
And listing things like that so people can find really great local food. And one of our projects this year is that we are trying to connect everyone in the community with local food at every level. So, for instance, the food banks and farmers markets don't always cross paths. Farmers markets are really, a lot of them are on Saturdays or after hours. Food banks are all volunteer run. They can't necessarily get out to pick up the food for the people that need it the most when there's excess. So the farmers end up throwing things away or things like that. So we're trying to find a way to hook them in together and make sure that any excess goes to people who need it right away. And that the people who want to purchase the fresh local food can do so. Almost all of the farmers markets, unfortunately not Silverdale, but almost all of them take EBT and debit cards. And even Silverdale takes the WIC program.
okay.
So fresh local food is available to everyone, and we're trying to get the word out there. My appointment was to focus on the buy local program. So we're looking into that as well.
So getting folks connected, that's a big challenge that you kind of see in the big opportunity.
Yes.
Very good. Do you have any ideas or thoughts in terms of, outside of just connecting people through social media, other things that we could be doing at the county or elsewhere to help promote the businesses that are here for in terms of supporting buying local?
I would love to see that. I don't have a concrete plan about that yet.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to more of our neighbors in need, I think, because I see such a missed opportunity when people go in to get their EBT card, which is now food stamps. You no longer get the script, you get a credit card, or what looks like a credit card. They get told about the stores that they can use and the things they can and cannot buy, but they don't get a list of farmers markets where they can go get really healthy food for their family. And I think that we could use the county to promote that a lot better, especially. And then build that out and have a website just for businesses local independent businesses,
Yeah.
locally owned.
So next Wednesday, we have the ribbon cutting for a new YMCA in Silverdale. So we're finally opening the new Y June 1st, and I think right now we have 8,000 people, over 8,000 folks who have signed up to be members of the Y. And in terms of
Actually, 9,000 they said last night.
Yeah, it's just growing, and I think 6 months into the opening of the Gig Harbor Y, I think they had 14,000 members. So put that a little bit in perspective. Bremerton's our largest city. It has 37,000 residents. The Silverdale urban growth area has about 19,000 residents. So we think this Y at the end of the day will probably have between 15 and 19,000 members, which shows you that practically everybody's going to be a member in the central Kitsap area. But the thing that I think is really powerful about the Y
is how it's going to transform our community in terms of trying to, people being motivated to live healthier lifestyles. I'm amazed. I'm going around talking to folks. How many people are telling me, yeah, I have all the, the classes that they're going to have at the Y, and I'm figuring out when I go in before work, or when, my husband and I can go after work, or how we can take our kids. And upstairs they have a facility that Harrison Hospital has to be able to deal with cardiovascular health. But it seems to me that this is such a great opportunity now that the Y is being opened up, with the work that you're doing on the Food and Farm Policy Council, and in terms of buying local and trying to encourage people to support organics and eating healthier, that this is such a great opportunity to collaborate, kind of cross-pollinate ideas here with the Y.
Well, I saw, last night I was at the Donors Gala event, and I saw that they do have a commercial teaching kitchen.
Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting, and so my mind has been working ever since then.
Yeah, I think it's anytime you get a captive audience of folks together, figuring out how we can, work together on issues, it's so easy, so. Well, do you have anything else to add or thoughts on anything we've discussed?
On anything that we've discussed, yes, I do. I think that we've talked a lot about people going into business and wanting to do a kebab or a bakery or sell flip-flops on the corner stand.
Sure.
And I think that what I would say to any of those people going into business is to have a strength in your business is great, but that is not the business you're going into. You are going into customer service no matter what industry you're in, because no matter what you're selling, you have to sell it to somebody. And flexibility, offering and anticipating customers' needs is going to be the key to survival. If you have a set way that you do things, that's great, but if you don't flex with the economy and with the customers' needs and what they need, I think that is the key to survival, is being flexible. And having a business sense, not necessarily a chef can have a restaurateur can have a restaurant, but only a business person is going to have a successful one.
Yeah. Monica, I can't thank you enough for your time. And, again, congratulations on 5 years of having a thriving business in our community. You're obviously one of my favorite spots in our community to come to and to give business to. And we wish you many years down the road.
So thank you for spending time with us. And
I hope this has been helpful for folks. A little different take on Commissioner's Corner. But again, Monica, thanks so much for your time. And thank you for everybody for tuning in.